The Chiefs host the 49ers on Saturday night at Arrowhead Stadium in the ever-important third preseason game of the year, which will see the starters get their most action of the preseason, and for many of them, their last action before the team heads to Jacksonville to open up the regular season. Here are 5 players to keep an eye on when the Chiefs take the field. First up, Patrick Mahomes. And while that might just sound like an obvious one, the storyline here is that Chiefs coach Andy Reid has made several comments over the past week about the first-team offense needing to be better than they were against the Steelers. Whether it's via turnovers, penalties, or just overall execution, expect Mahomes and company to take that message to heart. And while they still aren't game planning and the play calls overall are still going to be pretty vanilla, that doesn't mean a few strikes here and there won't be welcomed. Next up, cornerback Herb Miller, a virtual unknown for many outside of the Chiefs building until he was signed after a solid tryout during rookie minicamp. Miller has been one of the bright spots of training camp and the preseason thus far, picking off a pass back in week 1, then following that up with a good week of practice, then forcing a fumble against the Steelers and making some plays down the field in coverage. The third guy to keep an eye on is tight end Nick Kaiser, a solid inline blocker who spent part of last year, his rookie year, on the Ravens practice squad, and is now getting used to the way Andy Reid likes to utilize his tight ends in the passing game. Then we've got a pair of players to watch and back up defensive ends Tano Passanio and Breeland Speaks, who both had great ends to their training camps and solid performances in week 1 of the preseason, but after last week's game, Reid mentioned he needs more from his second-team pass rush, hence a spotlight on Speaks and Passanio. How do they respond? We'll see. And finally, the last set of players to watch are the new faces who haven't seen preseason action yet. In cornerback Morris Claiborne, offensive lineman Jeff Allen, and receiver DeAnthony Thomas. But Allen and Thomas know the scheme, having spent multiple seasons with the Chiefs already. And Claiborne has been practicing for a couple of weeks after joining the Chiefs, but he has yet to see any game action. Will this be the week? That's something I asked Reid about on Tuesday.
We'll see on that, yeah. We haven't even got there yet. Yeah, I'm not that far along in this, so we're kind of getting through all this, and then we'll see.
In any case, Saturday night at Arrowhead will be the place to be as we get to see one last final tune-up for most of the starters before the regular season begins on the road against the Jaguars.